If you've been following Chrono Odyssey, you know the biggest question mark has been the actual state of the game. We get these incredible trailers, but the communication can feel a bit sporadic. We just got a massive, unexpected information drop directly from the producer, Sang Tae-yoon. He jumped onto the official Discord for the first time ever to run a Q&A. He didn't really fluff the answers. We're talking hard specs, combat mechanics, and exactly how they fixed that too dark to see issue. Going through the whole transcript so you don't have to. Here's everything you need to know about the state of Chrono Odyssey right now. Let's start with the elephant in the room, performance. Graphics looking this good, everyone is worried that you need a very high-end computer to run it. But here's the official target. They're aiming for a stable 60 frames per second, and the reference hardware they're using, an RTX 2070 Super. That is surprisingly reasonable. Sang Tae was pretty honest here. He admitted that early on, some areas were running at like painful 10 FPS. They've optimized those zones to hit that 60 FPS target. That is in about 80% performance jump. They also completely restructured the rendering pipeline to cut RAM and VRAM usage by about 20%. So if you don't have the absolute latest hardware, they're working on a dedicated performance mode for a mid to low spec rigs. Now let's talk about combat feel. Pretty common complaint in the earlier test was the camera. You know the struggle. You lock onto the boss, you back into the wall or pillar, suddenly you're staring at a brick texture while your character dies. They fixed it. They've implemented an object transparency system. If a building or a tree gets between you and the camera, it immediately turns transparent. You never lose sight of the action. They're also turning the friction of combat. This means adjusting skill activation times, crucially adding a cancel windows. This is pretty huge for a PvP and a high-level PvE because it means you're locked into animation for 3 seconds while the boss winds up one-shot mechanic. It sounds like they are prioritizing frame pacing over just raw frame rate, make the hits feel responsive. Moving on to the world itself, you thought the game looked a little static. You weren't alone. To fix this, they're adding a full wind system. In the next test, you're going to see grass and trees actually swaying, but it goes deeper than visuals. They're adding a dynamic weather. Fog, thunderstorms, snow. They claim these will actually influence gameplay, not just look pretty. Also, a big point of feedback was the visibility. Players said that the game was too dark and the eye adaptation effect, that thing where the screen gets bright and dark when you look at the sun, was annoying. They dialed that back. Towns and save zones will be brighter and clearer. Dungeons will stay dark to keep the tension. They've reduced the fog density so you can actually see what you're fighting. And finally, quick hit on progression and classes. Right now, there's no spellblade or hybrid class planned, although they might look into it later. Each class gets 3 distinct weapons. The progression is a mix of vertical leveling and horizontal narrative growth, unlocking things called Chronotectors and weapon traits. Also for the fashion endgame players, yes, a costume system is in development for launch. So that's the rapid fire update. Sounds like the team is genuinely taking that close beta feedback to heart, especially regarding performance and visibility. They promised another developer note and another Q&A in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed here. As soon as that drops, break it down for you. Let me know in the comments, does that RTX 2070 requirement make you feel better about the optimization? Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, bye bye.